Thea, jy kan begin.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're well. Welcome to today's lesson. Yesterday, I spoke about answering afdeling 4 vraag 3, which was the advertisement. Today, we're going to look at hoe om vraagstel 1 afdeling C vraag 4 te beantwoord. So how to answer paper 1, section C, question 4. Hoe om 'n strokiesprent te ontleed, how to analyze a cartoon, en hoe om 'n basiese direkte redesin in indirekte rede te verander. So how to change a basic direct sentence into indirect speech. Okay, so kom ons kyk, die strokiesprent. You're all familiar. Question 4 is always the advertisement. So kom ons kyk. Let's have a look. Before you even attempt to answer question 4, have a look at your advertisement. Ek sê so kyk altyd na die karakters se liggaamstaal. Always look at the characters in the cartoon's body language. That is extremely important. So kom ons kyk. Raampie 1 is frame 1. So wat sien ons? What do we see? This is all about what you can see. Hier's 'n ma, 'n mother, en haar tienerseun, her teenage son. This Jeremy. This set of cartoons are often asked in the exam. So kom ons kyk. Hierso sê die ma, luister nou mooi, Boeta. Okay, there's an exclamation mark. Okay, that is telling us she is giving an instruction. So say, listen now. Okay, dan, wat doen sy? Jeremy se ma wys haar vinger na hom. She's pointing her finger at him. Now, who like Jeremy? He's a teenage boy. Often in this question, they always sometimes ask something about stereotyping, about teenagers. Now, hierdie tienerseun, Jeremy's skouers hang. His shoulders are hanging. Okay, nou gaan ons raampie 2 toe. Wat sien ons? What do we see once again? They are big. En hoe lyk haar wenkbroue? Her eyebrows, that's the word for eyebrows, wenkbroue. Sy frons. Angry. Goed, sy sê, ek is moeg om vir jou te sê, om goed te doen, wat jy self moes geweet het om te doen. Jy is so lui, so selfsugtig, ek het nie meer die geduld om vir jou te wag nie, Jeremy. Ek sal jou pa hiervan vertel. Hy sal jou vasvat, so wag jy maar net, jou dag sal kom, dan lag ek. She is extremely angry at her son. Now, if we go to the next frame, raampie 3, then we have the mom again, and she goes, verstaan jy? Okay, so wat se tipe sin is dit? What type of sentence is that? That's a question, a vraagsin. And kyk vir arme Jeremy. Look at for Jeremy. Hi, we like hi. Why does his hair suddenly look like this? Hoekom lyk sy hare so? Dit dui aan sy kop is vol van alles wat sy ma gesê. It now indicates that he may be slightly shocked about his mother's reaction. As probably didn't expect it. And that is why his hair is looking like that, because his head has been filled with everything that the mom has now said in a short while. And kyk hoe lyk sy oë. Look at his eyes. Hoe lyk sy oë? Hulle is groot. Okay, so the first thing you do when attempting to answer question 4 is you are going to look at the cartoon and the character's body language. Okay, now let's have a look at the question. Now, yesterday I spoke and I said that advertisement, 6 out of the 10 mark questions in that section was related to the advertisement and the interpretation of it. Once again, in this section, 5 of the 10 marks are allocated to the interpretation of the cartoon. So once you have managed that skill to interpret the cartoon, these questions will be a lot easier. Okay, so kom ons kyk. Vraag 4.1, question 4.1 says, kies die korrekte antwoord by die stelling korrek voltooi. Choose the correct answer that completes the statement. That's the word stelling, statement correctly. Okay? Skryf slegs die vraagnommer en die antwoord neer. So stelling is a statement. Die sin, luister nou mooi Boeta. Goed, in raampie 1 is 'n voorbeeld van 'n en dit is 'n bevelsin. Now you do need to know language or types of sentences. So a bevelsin is an instruction, a stelsin is a normal statement, a vraagsin is a question, and a uitroepsin is an exclamation. Okay, if I go, "Sjoe, dit is warm vandag." Okay, that is an exclamation. There is a difference between a bevelsin and an uitroepsin. Good, so please only write down the letter. Don't write down all bevelsin. Just write down the letter because that's what they've instructed you to do. Dan 4.2 sê hier een visuele tegniek wat die feit dat Jeremy se ma woedend is another word for kwaad, okay? Woedend is actually furious, it's worse than kwaad, is vir hom ondersteun, so een visuele tegniek. Now, it is in raampie 1 and 2 in frame 1 and 2, and I did highlight quite a few. Ons het nou gesê, sy wys haar vinger na hom, she points her finger at him, haar oë is groot, her eyes are big, haar mond is groot oop, her mouth is open wide, dit lyk of sy baie hard praat of skree. Now here it's all about what you can see, so I've highlighted words that you can use in sentences to indicate that you're where you need to look at what's going. So dit lyk, it looks of sy baie hard praat of skree. Goed, dan sê dit, wat is die funksie daarvan dat die ma se sinne alles aan mekaar geskryf is? What is the function of the mom sentences all written together? Now, this beklemtoon, emphasize, remember, I'm going to say this 10,000 times, there's no such word as emphasier. Okay, it's a word that you make up. It does not exist in the Afrikaans language. It is the beklemtoon dat sy vinnig en sonder ophou praat. Okay, so it emphasizes that she's speaking quickly and without stopping. You have to say what is being emphasized. Jy kan nie net skryf om te beklemtoon. Okay, you are not going to get a mark if you just write om te beklemtoon. Okay, nou sê dit, hoekom is Jeremy se hare so groot in raampie 3? Why is his hair so big in frame 3? So now weer, I've used a word to indicate that you've seen, but dit wys, it shows, sy kop is vol van alles wat sy ma gesê. His head has been filled with everything his mother has said. Goed, dan, vraag 4.5, waarom is Jeremy se oë so groot in raampie 3? Why is his eyes so big in frame 3? Now you need to get vocab that you can write more than just the two words gelukkig en ongelukkig, right? So you can't just say Jeremy is ongelukkig. That's not going to get you the mark. Okay, so ek het hier gesê, hy is verbaas dat sy ma so kwaad is. He's surprised that his mom is so angry. Okay, teenagers in general, when teachers or parents are fighting with them, are usually shocked. Oh my gosh, what did I do wrong? Okay, Sy is verbaas dat sy ma so kwaad is. Hy het miskien vir sy ma geskrik. Okay, maybe he had a fright when his mom started screaming. He didn't expect it. Okay, she suddenly just went off at him. And then because she spoke so fast, maybe het hy nie verstaan alles wat sy ma gesê het nie. Maybe he didn't understand everything that his mother said. Okay, so by looking at the cartoon, you can now, after you've looked at the body language, you have interpreted a little bit, you should be able to answer these questions that are based on the interpretation of the cartoon. Try and get your vocab to a standard where you can express yourself to say wys haar vinger na hom. Okay, that you know she points her finger at him is wys, of haar mond, haar oë is groot, of haar mond is groot. We spoke about the word wenkbraue, which is the eyebrows. Okay, so dit is ongelooflik belangrik. Now, when doing the cartoon, you are most probably going to get a question relating to direct and indirect speech. It is not just limited to this question, however, it is often asked in this section. So let's have a look at some basic steps to attempt directe and indirecte rede. Now, I have just done some basic steps. I haven't explained directe and indirecte rede in a lot of detail. I can do a separate lesson on that at a later stage. Maar kom ons kyk na hierdie sinnetjie. Dit sê, skryf die sin oor in die indirecte rede. So rewrite the sentence in indirect speech. So nou kyk ons. We do everything in Afrikaans step by step, okay, because then you are assured to get your mark. So Jeremy se ma sê, jy is baie lui en selfsugtig. Okay, so Jeremy's mom is saying, you are very lazy and selfish. Now it tells you how to start the sentence. Begin so. Start like this. Jeremy se ma sê dat. And it's for 2 marks. So kom ons kyk. 'n Paar vinnige stappe om sinne na die indirekte rede te verander. So a few steps to change sentences into indirect speech. So step 1. This should always be your first step when you are doing anything to do with sentences. Onderstreep die werkwoord. You have to be able to underline, highlight, identify the verb, because usually it is only the verb moving around in the various sentences, nothing else. Some of you tend to move other words around. It is usually only the verb moving around, and that is why it is so important to actually be able to identify the verb. So I've identified it here as goed dan sê ek stap 2, trek 'n sirkel om enige voornaamwoord wat verander moet word. So then draw a circle around any pronoun that is going to have to change. So the ek, my, jy, jou, those ones are the ones that are going to change. Please also look if the sentence has an infinitive, if there are any pronouns in the infinitive that has to change. So if this sentence was, jy is baie lui en selfsugtig om my nie te help nie, that my would then also have to change. Right, then step 3. Kyk na die tipe sin. Identify the type of sentence that you need to write into the indirect speech. Is dit 'n stelsin? Is it a statement? Is dit 'n vraagsin? Is it a question? Or is dit 'n bevelsin? Or is it a instruction? That is extremely important because that will determine what you are going to use to join the two sentences. Okay, because this is actually not just checking direct and indirect speech, it's also checking your ability to use group 3 conjunctions, to join two sentences with group 3 conjunctions. Now, they have been very nice. They've told you how to start. Jeremy Samar said dat. Okay, so we are going to use the dat because this, jy is baie lui en selfsugtig, is a statement. Okay, so now once you have identified your verb, you have found all the various pronouns that you can change, and you've determined that it is a statement, you are now going to write the sentence into the indirect speech. Goed, so kom ons kyk. Ek het nou gesê, die tipe sin is 'n stelsin, en nou kyk ons. Jeremy se ma sê dat. Now remember, that is a group 3 conjunction, voor groep 3. Daarom skuif die werkwoord na die einde van die sin. Therefore, this verb is going to move to the end of the sentence. That is why it is so important to identify your verbs that you know okay, these ones have to move to the end. So now we have a look. Jeremy Samar said dat. The jy is changing to hy because she's speaking to him. Dat hy baie lui en selfsugtig is. So you would have seen this is for 2 marks, right? So if it was for 2 marks, you would get a mark for changing the pronoun correctly, the hy, okay, the jy that becomes hy, and moving the verb to the end. Okay. These questions often are only 1 mark in the exam. Then everything has to be correct to get the 1 mark. There are no half marks in Afrikaans. So even if you did move the verb to the end, but you forgot to change the hy, if the question is 1 mark, everything is wrong. In this case, if you have moved the is to the end, you will get 1 out of 2. And then if you remembered to change the hy and you didn't remember to move the verb, you would have also gotten 1 mark. Just a few things to keep in mind when doing direct and indirect speech questions. Now, please remember, ek het hier groot geskryf, very bold op Britannia, onthou, ons verander nie die tydsvorm van die sin. We do not change the tense of the sentence. Okay, I know in English you change the tense, don't do it in Afrikaans. Keep it as is. Okay, we do not change the tense of the sentence. The other thing that you should note is that your biggest mistake would be you either remember to change the pronoun and you forget to move the verb to the end because you forget that you're joining 2 sentences with a group 3 conjunction, or you move the verb to the end, right? But you don't change your pronouns. And if there is a pronoun in the infinitive, you also tend to forget, right, what to do. Right, then this is now everything to do with direct and indirect speech. It's a quick recap. I haven't done questions, I haven't done instructions. I can do a separate lesson on that, but I thought to start with, we are just addressing how to answer question 4 of paper 3. Are there any questions relating to direct and indirect speech at this moment that any of you would like to ask that I could maybe have a look at? Before we continue. Right, if you've got questions at the end, you can also ask. I am going to go to the next slide. Okay, so now let's have a look at the next 3 questions. Right, so I have, let's look at 4.7. 4.7 says, hier die antoniem van die onderstreepte woord, skryf slegs die vraagnommer en die antwoord neer. Nou, 'n antoniem, okay, 'n antoniem is 'n antonym, so 'n woord met die teenoorgestelde betekenis. A word with opposite meaning, 'n anderse betekenis, different meaning. So Jeremy is verskriklik lui, right? Lui is lazy. So now you have to try and figure out what the word is. In hierdie geval, if you're not lazy, you really work hard. So dit is hardwerkend. Right, that is hardwerkend. Goed, kom ons gaan verder. Goed, dan sê dit, okay, then I'm going to leave out leidende vorm for now. I've decided I will do that question tomorrow morning at our lesson at 8, and then do leidende vorm in detail. Do a whole lesson on leidende vorm. Want hier is nogal baie goed wat jy moet weet. There's a lot of stuff that you do need to know in terms of leidende vorm. Goed, dan 4.9, 4.9 says, gee die vergrotende trap van die woord tussen hakies. Goed, gee die vergrotende trap van die woord tussen hakies, skryf slegs die vraagnommer en die antwoord neer. Only write down the question number and answer. Now, that is, I spoke about it yesterday, I'm just mentioning it again today, right? That if they ask you to only write down the question number and answer, you only write down the question number and answer. Please don't write out the whole sentence, right? You're wasting your time in a question paper, especially if you want to have extra time reading the comprehension. If you have forgotten that you should only write down the question number and answer, then if you have written down the whole sentence, please underline the answer in the sentence. In the marking guidelines for any of the question papers for Afrikaans, they are very clear in the instructions to the marker that marks will only be awarded if you have highlighted the answer, if you have written the whole sentence. Okay, so rather just write the answer to be safe. Right, so kom ons kyk. Trappe van vergrotende trappe is die trappe van vergelyking, so degrees of comparison. Okay, so kom ons kyk gou hier. Die trappe van vergelyking, ons het die stellende trap, that is our first degree. Mooi. Vergrotende trap, that's the one going a little bit bigger. You need to know the names of these different trappe van vergelyking. So die vergrotende trap, mooier, you add an ER if we are busy with the vergrotende trap, right? And then the oortreffende trap, the biggest one is called the oortreffende trap, that is mooiste. We add an STE. Now in the exam, you see vergrotende trap, you're already stressed, you cannot remember which one of the three they are looking for. Okay, so an easy way to remember if you are dealing with the vergrotende trap is the word vergrotende already has the ER in it. So that should remind you, okay, that I have to add an ER to the word. Okay, so that is a little bit of a cheat that you can use to remember which one they're asking for. Because sometimes you just hit a blank in one or other exam and you can't remember, so then you need a bit of a cheat to remind you. So just remember, vergrotende trap has the ER in it, therefore you will then add ER. So kom ons kyk. Dit sê, Jeremy se ma is moe as sy pa vir sy gedrag. So Jeremy's mother is more tired of his attitude, behavior than the dad. Now this, the word us, is also our guidance as to what they want. So for the vergrotende trap in the sentence, after the word they've asked, somewhere you see the word us, you know that they want the second group. Now they've given you the word moeg. Okay, moeg is also a bit of an exception. You can't say ek is moeger as die ander persoon. Okay, that word wouldn't get you the mark. In this case, the G is going to fall away, and then you're going to add the E, R, but the second E has to have the deelteken, the two dots on it. Okay, where you put those two dots are extremely important. Okay, so if you put them in the middle, you're not going to get the mark, right? Because you want the marker to decide where you put the deelteken because you're unsure, okay? And then obviously if you put it on any of the other letters, it won't be right. Make very sure that when you're answering a question that's got a deelteken, that the marker can clearly see on which one of the letters you have put the deelteken. It is usually the second vowel, but in this case we now have three vowels, so it's on the third one. Okay, so I've given you an additional note on the deelteken. Just that you know, a deelteken is a skryfteken. Okay, you have to differentiate between leestekens, your punctuation marks, and skryftekens. Skryftekens are the kappie, deelteken, those ones that you find on the word. But today I've just highlighted the deelteken. Okay, so the deelteken, it has a function, it does have a function, and it's good to know what the function is. So die funksie van die deelteken, the function of the deelteken is dit dui die begin van 'n nuwe lettergreep aan. It indicates the start of a new syllable. So if I had to divide words into syllables, lettergrepe, I would divide it as moer. You can hear it if I pronounce the word moer. So you hear there's a break in the word, and that is the function of the deelteken. Okay, so that is extremely important where you put the deelteken as well. Please don't put it in the middle of the two, like I said. The kids in my class have often said they put it there because they want us to decide when we're marking, you're not going to get any marks. Okay, so put it on the one where it should go. Okay, so I've given you now, yeah.
15 minutes to end of session.
Thank you. Okay, so I've given you now two sentences that I would like you to attempt to do with the steps that I have given you. So we can go through those questions tomorrow, or if you've got questions now, I can try and answer them. Maar hierso sê Jeremy antwoord, ek help jou daagliks in die huis. Okay, so it's still based on this cartoon that that we did previously, which is 2 separate sentences. And then Jeremy se ma sê, jy maak my baie kwaad. Right, so if you want to quickly write them down and attempt them, right, you are more than welcome to do so. Or otherwise, if you want to write them down and we go through them tomorrow, that is also perfectly fine. Okay. Right, so that you can do and try them. Okay, remember the various steps that I have indicated. Right, so I hope you all have it. I'm going on to the next slide. Okay, so wat weet ons? What do we know after today's lesson? Good. Kyk altyd na die liggaamstaal van die karakters in die strokiesprent. Okay, have a look at the character's body language in the cartoon. Okay, that is important. Write down what you see. Skryf neer wat jy sien. Hoe lyk hulle? How do they look? Goed. Kyk na die tipe sinne in die strokiesprent en hoe hulle getik is. Okay, have a look at the types of sentences in the cartoon and how they have been printed. Sometimes there are certain sentences that are only typed in capital letters and the rest of the cartoon have been typed normally, right, with a capital letter and a small letter. Then in that frame where everything has been typed in capital letters, it is to emphasize the person's words. So that is important to also see how the words have been typed. Dan die indirekte rede, the indirect speech, onthou die 3 stappe. Remember the 3 steps. Right, ons het hierso stap 1 onderstreep die werkwoord. That is most probably the most important step, right? When you want to do any sentence in Afrikaans, onderstreep die werkwoord. Then step 2, omcirkel die voornaamwoorde, circle your pronouns, en dan stap 3, bepaal die sinsoort. Determine what type of sentence it is that you can then determine how you're going to join the 2 sentences. Okay, and then you join it. Goed, kom ons kyk. Nou, I've said, jy gaan kyk 'n bietjie na die skrywer Dani Cronje se Strokiesprent reeks meester. Okay, and I've given you a link here where you can go and have a look. Now, often meester is asked as a cartoon. Meester is that one about the teacher, the male teacher that always gets so angry with this boy that doesn't seem like he's interested at all in schoolwork. They like asking that one. Now, on this specific site, you can actually go and read the various cartoons and familiarize yourself with some of them. It's good, quick reading. It's a good way to broaden your vocabulary, right? And in the process, maybe you just come across a cartoon that you have actually, that's actually going to be asked in a question paper. You might be lucky. So it is good to go and have a look at the various cartoons available on the site. If you can't get to the site, if you type in meester in your Google search, you will also find a lot under images of the meester cartoon that you can also go and read. And it's not heavy reading, but it's a good way to just go through the cartoons and look at the character's body language. Okay, especially the teacher. He gets very upset with this child, and you'll see. Okay, Dan, tomorrow, ek sien nou ek op 'n kuiermôre is, jy saam met my. Tomorrow I would like to look at the following. Right, I'd like to in detail discuss the leidende vorm. Okay, that is something I would really like to discuss tomorrow, because I sometimes feel a lot of you feel overwhelmed when trying to attempt to write the sentence into the leidende vorm. En dan gaan ons kyk na vraestel 1 afdeling C vraag 5. I am going to look at question 5 of paper 1, section C. Dit gaan bespreek word met die aandag veral gefokus op die kort infinitive. I want to spend a bit of time on the short infinitive. That is your behoort and hoef nie sentences. Okay? And then just recap voegwoorde, recap conjunctions, and then especially hoe om sinne met groep 3 voegwoorde te begin. How to start sentences with group 3 conjunctions. I do find that the leidende vorm, hey, you can all get marks there. However, you sometimes lose marks because you miss one other step. The short infinitive, those behoort and hoef nie sentences, I also find that you sometimes make one silly mistake and then you lose your marks there. And then just to recap how to start with group 3 conjunctions, because there you also sometimes make mistakes that aren't necessary, that is costing you your marks, and we won't want that at all. Right, I hope you have found this lesson helpful. And please, I urge you, if you do have any questions that you would like me to address, to let me know. I would appreciate that, because then I know I might have to structure a lesson on someone has asked vraagwoorde, then I can do again. Nathan, you have raised your hand. I'm going to just try and see how to get you to answer your question. You're more than welcome to answer or ask a question. I just can't. If you can ask the question. Can you? I can't hear you. Did you ask the question?
Ma'am, I just wanted to find out, is when you, like for direct and indirect speech, if it's an answer, would it work the same way as a statement?
Say again, if you?
If it's like, if he's answering a question, would it work the same way as the statement?
It will work the same way. It's just you're going to use of to join the two sentences and not the verb. So if I ask you, is Jeremy stout? Right, then you're going to go, Jeremy se ma vra of hy stout is. So it will work exactly the same as the other ones. You'll just use of. If you would like me to go through that, Nathan, specifically, I will do that as well. I really don't mind doing that. Just let me know. Right, are there any other questions? Nathan?
No, thank you. Yes, thank you very much, ma'am.
Okay, and would you like me to do more in-depth direct and indirect speech?
No, I was just confused because the one question that you gave us now was him answering his mom, and I didn't know if we'd just use the same layouts, like the same format. Okay, yeah.
Yes, so the word antwoord and sê, they're still statements. It's just another way of starting the sentence.
Okay, thank you so much, ma'am.
All right, okay, I hope to see you again tomorrow.
Will do, ma'am.
Okay, thank you guys. Any other questions from anyone relating to the work? Right, guys, then I hope to see you tomorrow. I'm looking forward seeing you again tomorrow morning. Okay, bye.